Anker just made their best power bank even better. Last year I showed you the 140 watt Anker 737, but now with a new name, this is the Anker Prime. It has an even bigger capacity than before, new ways to charge and monitor wirelessly, and a ridiculous 250 watts of power output. This thing can handle whatever you throw at it. It can even fast charge 2 MacBook Pros at the same time. It's pretty insane. But is it worth it over the original 737? Let's find out. Hey guys, my name is Jack, and that was the new channel intro you just saw. Let me know what you think in the comments. I make tech videos, and there is quite a lot of stuff going on this month, so get subscribed and hit the bell if you're new here. Just to say, this is not a sponsored video. I bought this myself because I love the old 737 and I wanted to check out the new upgrades and show you guys. But there are some affiliate links in the description if you want to check this out for yourself, which helps support me and the channel. Anker didn't make just one, by the way. There are actually 3 new power banks in the new Prime lineup. I'm mainly going to focus on the 250 watt version, the flagship. It's the fastest and has the biggest capacity, plus a pretty cool unique feature only found on this top end model. But leave a like and comment if you want me to make a video comparing all 3. The original 737 is still on sale. Anker are keeping it around, but let's see what's new with the Anker Prime and how they compare. In the box you get the power bank, all of the usual documentation, a 140 watt USB-C cable and a carry pouch. Design-wise, the Prime has quite a lot in common with the 737. It's more of an evolution with the same black and grey casing. They've just sort of inverted the colour scheme and extended the glossy front panel all the way down the front, which, be warned, is a bit of a fingerprint magnet. It's about the same size. The 250 watt Prime is a little bit bigger and taller due to the capacity increase from 24,000 mAh to 27,650. Which sounds kind of weird and specific, but I will get to that. As with the 737, it is big and heavy at over 660 grams, almost a pound and a half, and definitely not the best option for carrying if you just want to top up your phone. There are much smaller and lighter options out there. This is for someone wanting a high output power bank for recharging a 12.9 inch iPad or topping up a MacBook Pro when you're away from any outlets, or charging a bunch of devices all at once. This thing is a beast. Up top, it still has 2 USB-C ports and an A port. There's same side button placement for turning on the screen, which has gotten a lot bigger. I'd say it's about twice the size now, which is a welcome change. It makes it much more readable. The new UI has bigger text and icons. And this was my favourite feature of the 737. Having that screen to tell you exactly what the percentage is left in the battery is way better than trying to guess from some LEDs. And when in use, you get these nice big readouts showing you how much is being output from each port to whatever devices are plugged in. You can see how it dynamically adjusts and redistributes as more devices are connected. And it'll also tell you how long it will take until the battery depletes based on its current output. Now, the default screen brightness is kind of dim, but you can set the brightness to high in the menu using the side button. It might look a bit dim on camera. Granted, I have quite a lot of lights when filming, but it's fine in normal conditions, but I would have liked it to be a little bit brighter. It's about the same level as the 737. And when recharging, it will tell you roughly how long it will take, and this thing recharges blazing fast. You can literally watch the numbers ticking up. There's actually a few ways to recharge it, including using this all new base station. All 3 of the new Prime power banks have these 5 pins on the bottom that allow it to charge wirelessly for some grab and go power. But more on that later. First, let's talk capacity, because this has had a nice bump from 24,000 mAh to 27,650, which, yeah, that sounds like a totally random made up number, but when measuring in watt hours, that takes it to 99.54, which importantly keeps this just under the 100 watt hour limit when flying. So you can still take this with you in your carry-on on a plane. It's pretty much the most capacity that Anker could squeeze in this thing while keeping it within the limit. Now, one of the most frustrating things about buying a power bank is it's really hard to know how many charges you'll get for your phone or tablet or laptop. There's milliamp hours and watt hours and battery degradation and efficiency. It's all just a bit of a confusing mess. But Anker has come along and solved all that with an app, and it's actually really clever but really simple. The Prime now has built-in Bluetooth exclusively on this 250 watt version. The smaller Primes don't have this feature. With the app, you can monitor the battery percentage, the input, output, including volts and amps, the recharging and depletion time, basically all the same live stats that you get on the built-in screen. But then under the settings menu, there is a calculator for working out the number of charges a device can get. You tell it the device type, give it a name, enter the battery capacity in either milliamp or watt hours. You can find this info pretty easily on Google if you're not sure. Then enter the device's battery health, and iPhone will tell you this in the battery health section in settings. And then the app will tell you an estimate of how many charges that device will get, which is pretty cool. So with a 16-inch MacBook Pro, you'll get just over 2/3 of a full charge. For a 12.9-inch iPad Pro, you'll get 1.8 charges. And for a 14 Pro Max, you'll get 4.6, more than enough for a long weekend away. But it gets even better. These numbers will all update based on the amount of charge that the Prime currently has. So if it's only 70% full, the numbers will all drop to account for that. It basically takes all the guesswork out of knowing how many charges you'll get, and it's one of the most useful features that I've ever seen on a power bank. Plus, you can set these to appear on the Prime's second menu screen, so you're not having to check your phone all the time, but you do have to use short names. You can also use the app to change the theme on the Prime screen to give you even more detail with things like volts and amps if you really want to know all that. You can set up optimized charging to reduce the input and output during set times to preserve its battery health. For example, you might want to use slower charging overnight when fast charging just isn't a priority. There's even a find device option, which I think is pretty funny. If you somehow manage to lose this absolute brick of a power bank, you can play a sound on it and find it, as long as it's within the Bluetooth range. Now, what I would like to see is support for home screen widgets. The app kind of has a widget-like interface already. It'd be kind of cool to get something like this with more info on the home screen with some better use of space. And just a tip, by default, the power bank turns Bluetooth off after a while, but in the app you can set a time period to have it auto turn on. I've set it to daytime hours, so even if the Prime is in another room, I can be lazy and check if it's full before heading out or just see how it's doing. And I've not had any noticeable drain from leaving Bluetooth on. You know, I never thought about sticking Bluetooth in a power bank before, but it turns out it's really useful. But remember, this is exclusively on this flagship 250 watt version. Let's talk now about charging speed, because this thing is a bit of a beast. It supports the Power Delivery 3.1 spec. Paired with a MagSafe cable, it can fast charge a MacBook Pro to 50% in less than 30 minutes. But the most impressive thing, the headline spec, is that this has a new maximum output of 250 watts. But that is the maximum output when using all of the ports at the same time. So just to break it down, for single device charging, either of the C ports output a max of 140 watts, same as the 737, and 65 watts from the A port. For two device charging, both the C ports share 240 watts, up to 140 from the C1 and 100 from the C2, or 140 watts from either C port and 65 from the A port. And for three device charging using all the ports together, you'll get a massive 250 watts shared across all three ports. Which, yeah, is a lot to take in. Just to make it easy to remember, I'd say stick to the C1 port for high power devices like a MacBook, especially when multi-device charging, to make sure that it's getting the fastest possible charge. But the bottom line is, this thing can handle whatever you throw at it. The fact that it can charge two MacBook Pros nearing full speed is pretty nuts. I don't even know who even needs that, but you can do it. From 0%, it got my 2021 MacBook up to 54% and my 2016 Touch Bar up to 44%. It also supports pass-through, so you can charge into it while charging out to something else. It still supports trickle charging, enabled with a double press of the side button. You know it's on when you see the little green dot. And this stops the power bank shutting off when charging low power devices like earbuds or a smartwatch. As expected, it does get quite warm when outputting to something like a MacBook, but not something that's enough to concern me. All I'd say is just, keep it out on a desk when charging high power devices and not tucked away in a backpack. When it comes to recharging, you've got a few options. Firstly, it supports a max input of 140 watts from a single C port. I've been using my MacBook Pro charger, which gets it from 0 to 100% in about 43 minutes. I definitely recommend using this with at least a 100 watt charger, just so you're not waiting around for hours for this thing to charge. Don't use it with like a 5 or 10 watt charger. When I made my 737 video, I asked you guys to comment with what the fastest charger is that you have. And back then, 65 watts seemed to be the most common, but I'm wondering if that's changed now. So let me know what you guys are using. Secondly, this now supports dual input, so you can use two high power chargers and get a slightly faster 170 watt charge. But to be honest, that's only going to save you like 6 minutes, so it's not really worth carrying two chargers around. Or thirdly, use the new charging bays. This is a separate purchase, but it works with all the new Prime lineup. All three have the charging pins on the bottom. And this is like low-key one of the best new features. There's nothing more annoying than grabbing your power bank just as you're heading out, only to find that you forgot to recharge it from last time. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But with this, you can just pop the Prime on, it recharges it wirelessly, and it's ready to go when you ever need it next. It's not the fastest way to charge, it only supports 100 watt charging, which still only takes just over an hour or so. But the point is, it's a home for the power bank and a place where you can keep it where it's always ready to grab and go. It also works as a hub. It has 2 C ports and an A port, so it's a nice desktop accessory for charging other bits of tech with as well. The Prime aligns to it magnetically, but that does make it prone to pulling the base with it when grabbing the power bank, so give it a little push to the side when picking it up. It does come with some sticky pads in the box, but I wish maybe they could have just added some more weight to the base. So we've got a refreshed design with an even bigger screen, an even higher battery capacity, ridiculous levels of power output, and my 2 favourite features, the new wireless charging base and the new Bluetooth connectivity for monitoring and working out the number of charges your devices will get. All in something that you can slip into a backpack and even take with you on a plane. But is it worth it over the original 737? Well, that is sticking around. Anker is still selling that for £140 or $160. A big purchase for sure. You're definitely paying a premium for features like the built-in screen and the high power output, but I still think it's a great purchase for anyone needing a high output power bank. The new 250 watt Prime comes in a little higher at £180 or dollars. And that's for anyone that really needs that insane level of extra power output or a bit more capacity, or you just really want those Bluetooth features. But if you want the charging base, that is another £60 or $70 on top, which, yeah, you don't really need to have this thing, but if you're forgetful like me when it comes to recharging, then this is an add-on that can really save the day when you're in a rush to head out. My only dig at this is, why oh why does it still have an A port? It's not just Anker, I've seen other manufacturers doing this too, but please, can we just switch to USB-C? Anyway, that's my take on this. I love this thing. For power users, I think it's the best everyday power bank that you can get. Well worth having a look. Check out the links in the description. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What would you use such an insanely powerful power bank for? Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe and hit the bell to see more tech videos from me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.